And I told Gleaves about a movie I had seen, and I apologize to you, I can't remember the title. But it was one of the biblical classics. You may know the title, and it's not important. Because in this scene is the most powerful warrior that has ever lived. Standing with his armor on and his sword and his shield, in front of a woman who jilted him. And he throws these on the ground, clanging. They crash to the ground, and he says, "What force is this that I have no armor to protect myself against?" How do you do that when you're a warrior? You're the king of the jungle, and you can't help these people. You can't do anything but just walk off and leave them in the silent misery of oblivion. Your experience upon return. The first thing that most veterans do is try to find home. We come back and we come to you, all of you, and we come to the same house that we grew up in and the same street that we lived on, and it's not there. It's the same address, it's the same doormat, it's the same glass, the same coffee cup. It's not there anymore. It's gone. It's gone. You try to return as what everybody expects, especially your family. And for me, it was a protection mode to protect my family, to let them know that I was the same guy. It's me. It's little Jimmy Hodges. I'm back. Wow, let's go. Hug everybody, everything's great. No, it's not. No, it's not. Because in the quiet of that evening, the night sweat begins. Holding your breath and not being able to breathe. The twig that breaks outside the window and you lunge out of the bed with both guns in hand. And I will relate to you my children when they invited people over to stay. And they would tell their friends, be sure you get your drink of water. Be sure you use the bathroom, because if you get up during the night, you're going to see Dad in a way you don't want to see him. Be crawling around the furniture, guns in hand, ready for immediate deployment. You try to fit in with those who have passed you in life. And when I got back from Vietnam especially, everybody had gone to college and they got the benefit of the rah-rah-ree and the camaraderie, and they became alumnus. I wasn't anything. I was another shirt in the street. They passed me by. They had wives, they had children. They had the brick home. 3-bedroom, 2-bath. You try desperately to communicate and to be understood. Sometimes you try to reach out for people and you try to drop comments or hints. But because of these circumstances, it makes it impossible for you to begin a communication. You can say the words, but the understanding is absent. And try to overcome jealousy. And a lot of times, people that have not gone, have not served, become jealous. I've had employers that just because of who I was and where I went, they didn't want me because they felt a little inadequate. And I see you shaking your head over there. You know what I'm talking about. Yes. Thank you. My urban survival kit. Jack Daniels. I smoked about 3.5 to 4 packs of Camel non-filters a day. And nobody that can see me now can believe I'm still the same man, because I literally lit one off of the other. I chewed on the right there, day's work, chewing tobacco. Hand carved with a little pocket knife, and I chewed that, smoked cigarettes at the same time, drank Jack Daniels, and because I smoked so much, I developed a clinical allergy to that. And my nose would block up. I got addicted to nose spray. And I literally felt like a junkie walking around with 3-4 bottles of 4-way nose spray in my pocket because I was afraid to leave home without it. You've heard that cliche before. And I'm going to sue American Express for stealing my byline. But I was. And so these were the things that were the crutches. I had to have a gun with me at all times. I could not go around without that. Security. And correct me, Dr. Ryan, if I'm wrong. Our 5 basic social needs: security, response, recognition, new experience, and
safety.
Yeah, there you go. So I had to have that. These were the things that were essential for me to function on a daily basis. I could not do without them, and I would not leave home without it. Anybody guess who that is? I brought this with me because this is a picture of me at 15 years old working on a 35 square mile cattle ranch out in West Texas. And this was one of the happiest times of my life because I lied about my age. Don't tell anybody. And I got hired on this cattle ranch, and I went out, and the man that worked there had a keen eye for young cowboys and had a keen eye for young cow horses. And that was it. And I did a prolific job for him in training his horses, training some of the cowboys. And this picture is in Bracketville, Texas, which is way out in the middle of West Texas, out in the middle of nothing. And this, as I tell some people, I'm sitting on the outside of the jail. The outside. This was the old jail built back in the 1800s. But this was one of the greatest things for me. And when I came home from Vietnam, guess where I went first? I wanted to go home. I wanted to find the happiest place I could find on earth that would take all of this away and erase it. And this was it. And I found out very quickly that it wasn't there anymore either. It wasn't there. And a rancher came by and he saw me sitting in this window. And he came by 3 or 4 times looking at me, and I was wondering what he was doing. And he finally looked at me and he said, "You're a hard case, aren't you?" And I didn't answer him back. I just stared at him. He said, "I know where you came from. You need a job." And I didn't answer him again. So he got out of his truck and he walked over to me and he said, "Look, boy, I know you haven't eaten anything in about 3 days. I got some coyote problem out here on my ranch, and I know you know how to use a long gun. I'll pay you $25 for the carcass. The state will pay you $25 for a set of ears. $50 a head. You in?" And he waved the essence of a hamburger under my nose, and I said, "I'm your man." So I went with him. We went out on the ranch. And I actually became a modern-day Tom Horn. I was a little too good at what I did. And he gave me a horse, 2 pack mules, a 45-70 lever-action rifle, and I had a young Mexican boy there that was real good at reloading ammunition. Load me some 500-grain hand loads. Anybody in here familiar with firearms? Mm-hmm. You know what a 500-grain load will do. That's a big one, about as big as my thumb. So I came in after the first 2 weeks of employment there. The 2 pack mules were dragging. I had a 5-mile-long trail of blood behind me. Had a bunch of coyotes in there. And he looked at me and said, "My God, boy, I don't think I got enough money to pay you." So I worked my way out of a good job. My diet in those days was Jack in the Box tacos. That's all I could eat. My mother fixed me a nice steak dinner. When I first got home, I threw it all up. Didn't eat it. Couldn't tolerate it. Didn't taste it. Couldn't relate. C rations, I bought a bunch of those from Army surplus. I took them with me everywhere I went. And I just ate out of a can everywhere.